Ross, thanks for hopping on Aclaimant Fireside Chats. Super excited for today. I know we've known each other for a while, but today we'll probably go over your background, some of the things you're seeing as a leading work comp attorney, as trends in the space, and kind of where the industry is headed from there. I know your background is maybe not always lined up towards work comp. You kind of fell in this space sideways, but let me know if I got this right. You thought you were going to be doctoring at one point in time, ended up at a small defense firm, and then now are a partner at Weber Gallagher in the PA office, leading on the work comp side. Was I close?
Yeah, you were close. It was a bio pre-med major. Around the time there's a lot of changes in healthcare, went the biomedical engineering route and started to meet some lawyers and ended up going to law school where I stumbled upon the practice of workers' comp. So I always had a knack for solving different problems and challenges and always liked science, but led me to the law, which is now where I've been for about what, over 10 years at this point, well over 10 years.
Nice. That's great. I mean, I also imagine having a medical background of all the legal professions you could end up in, work comp is probably one of the ones that has the most relevance for some of that medical background.
It absolutely does. The biggest thing is I know exactly where to look in a stack of medical records and what not to look at, and that helps me get through it. And it helps me. You get the confusing things and looking at it. I had general understanding of what's being said and what's being talked about, and what the highlights will be, and the pressure points that are going to help me, my clients defend these cases.
Nice. Very cool. So, speaking of cases, I know Weber Gallagher does a ton of work in work comp, and you work with some of the biggest, smallest, most interesting companies that are out there. I know we can't share client lists on interviews, but I guess one of the questions that I had for you, you're seeing a lot of things happening. A lot is changing in the world every day. But what are the two or three major trends that you're kind of seeing with your clients right now as you think about kind of where you're looking, what's going on, and kind of what they're worried about?
So one of the big things that's and it's been around for a while is the aging workforce, right? And looking when you see a claim that's someone's complaining of an aggravation or degenerative issue and looking at comorbidities, that's a big thing, obviously, especially as the employees and injured workers are getting older, and then you have to get MSAs and looking at what's related, what's not, and how to defend a claim based upon common sense of our body is growing, our employees are growing. I think that's one big thing that's been happening over the years. Given some of the issues that have developed around COVID and negligence, we see a lot of exclusive remedy stuff now. The other big thing that's especially in PA is medical exposure and looking at high costs of prescriptions and medical devices and how those impact claims. I mean, I have one that where we have $134,000 of outstanding medical bills on a year-old claim that we've been litigating. And it's just how is that translating that someone who's got strains and sprains has got a balance of $134,000 worth of medical bills. So that's another big thing that clients are worried about as they look at their bottom line and their risk and exposure.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think the aging workforce is definitely an interesting one. I think some balance here of both we're getting older, but a bunch of comorbidities are coming into play as well. Has got to be something that's always on your and your client's mind and trying to figure out how that actually translates to what's a work comp claim actually going to cost.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of this goes down to with clients is, and I tell people this is, you can't start from behind the ball. You have to be proactive in what you're doing, and when you're proactive with injuries and incidents on your site, that's when you win. That's when you understand and you paint these pictures of what exactly is going on. And it starts with you know a line of communication with your employees, and it starts with not and working with your strategic partners, right? Working with your TPAs, your attorneys, working with your other strategic partners that they may have, like a claimant, right? Working with the people that help you with your data and your reporting and your incidents, working with all of those people to engage the process once you know of something, so that you're on top of the game, and once something happens, you can manage it quickly and you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. And I guess maybe a good transition. So if we think about kind of how you're working to help your clients tackle some of the problems that come along with medical, aging workforce, comorbidities, I guess, how are you thinking both about trends? How are you thinking about data analytics, and kind of where does that fit into the conversations that you're having with your clients?
Right. So it's I'm gonna go back to the little medical, stint, becoming, my bio pre-med major times. And it's funny, I would back when I was in college, I shadowed with several doctors from some of the big orthopedic groups, some hospital systems. And one of the things all the doctors that I had spoken with and shadowed, they all made a comment of, in reality, we can't just be treating symptoms. We need to be treating problems. And that is how I look at working with my clients, right? Yes, I'm an insurance defense attorney. Yes, I specialize in workers' comp. Yes, I litigate, right? But I also think of myself as a strategic partner in helping my clients reduce claim frequency, looking at their exposures and how they can fix it, looking at specific types of claims year after year and going, is there something we can fix internally that will address these problems? And that's one of the biggest things. I talk to my clients and I go, we need to be a team, from you guys, from your risk group to your claims group, to your TPAs, to your insurance carriers, to your attorneys, to your um, other partners regarding collecting data, Aclaimant. We all need to be on the same page and develop a process that really can guide itself. So when something happens, we know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. The other thing I like to do is I like to gather all of us at the end of the year and I like to go, okay, here's all the types of injuries we had in the 12-month span. And we look at them and see what they are. Are we having overuse injuries? Are we having lifting injuries? Are we having increased carpal tunnel because of repetitive cuts? Are we having, accidents where people are tripping and falling? Are we having an increased motor vehicle accidents? And then we can all look together. And this, for my clients to use Aclaimant, it's great because I know you guys collect that data. It's great. We can sit there and go, okay. And in real life, I had a client that had a slew of overhead upper extremity injuries from overhead lifting. And I looked at the client and I said, guys, we've had about 30 claims or X amount of claims this year, and it's all shoulder injuries, rotator cuff injuries, lifting injuries. What's going on? And they all seem to be at this part of the plant. And we go and I go, what's going on? And they go, well, we have a shelf that each employee is supposed to lift and it's 6 feet high, or a belt that's 6 feet high. Well, let's look, what's the average height? And around 5'10". How much does it cost to lower the belt? 10, $15,000? Let's lower the belt. And in fact, they did it. And over the next year, we saw like a 200 or so% reduction in claim frequency. And those are the things I like to do. Another client I had where they would report these claims and it would be a mystery as to what actually happened. And we later found out that they would come to the supervisor and be like, oh, I think I did this, but I'm not really sure. And then the supervisors are like, you mean, did you do this? And it would lead into something where they were kind of helping them. And so what we did was the supervisor training, where the first thing I said is, here's what you need to do. The first question you ask is, how are you? Are you okay? Yes or no, and you go from there. Disarm and work with them. Then it is what, and when you ask what happened, if they say, I don't know, you put, I don't know, right? It was a communication thing where then that would offshoot to multiple claims for multiple dates of injury, where we're then creating a more complex claim out of nothing. So that's another thing that we did. For a client that I assist, we do their auto work. We saw an increase in motor vehicle accidents, and we were looking out to better investigate and stay on top of the ball. And we looked at, okay, what type of technology do you guys have in your trucks that you're using? Do we have recordings? Do we have, software that we can record the front and back of the truck? Are we utilizing that? So that's another thing. Um, so those are some of the techniques that I use to help with my clients to diagnose the actual problems and not just the symptoms. And I think by doing that, you proactively work to reduce claim frequency. But the other thing that you see downstream is you have a well-oiled machine where you're able to gather information quicker, which, results in reduced expense when you're involved in a claim. It then works out better when you're before a judge from my perspective, right? I can walk in and I already know all the things that have happened. And when I'm sitting there cross-examining someone, the attorney's on notice, the employee's on notice, the judge is on notice. And people pick up on that stuff. I think those are some of the biggest, that's the biggest technique I'd like to say that I work with my clients on. And yeah, it is counterintuitive because but that's what my job is. My job is to not just litigate, but it is to help and solve problems.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of a great another great segue here around um, when you're working with customers, you're working with clients, right? It's about how do you build the system that makes everything work better? How do you find a way to tie the pieces together? You have your technology layer, you have your partners, you have your engaged team members, and those things create the opportunity for people to do better and to become better. And then so I guess, and this you can hit on this, maybe to hit on the head directly, it almost looks like you kind of view your role as a lawyer not just to litigate cases, but actually more to be an extension of the risk management team for your clients. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that is one of my biggest goals. Look, I always say if I wasn't a lawyer, I probably would have gone the risk route because I find it fascinating. Um, but that's how I look at it, right? Like I like to consult with clients to not just litigate. I like to look at their exposures and see if there's solutions that we can solve this, right? My job is not just in the courtroom, it's outside of it, and it's helped to guide you guys to see how we can make everything work better, how we can support the employees because a happy employee won't sue you, right? How we can support our client's business, right? How we can help them, you know, keep running, keep them in the green, but also make sure that their practices are safe, that their employees are safe, and so that they can be a more successful company.
Perfect. I think it's very, very well said. And I think it's kind of one of the things that um, we think about too is as a partner here, we're only successful if our clients and our customers are successful. And we obviously like to partner with firms that help to achieve that same goal. I know we're coming up here on the end of the interview. I think it's been some great knowledge that's been dropped very quickly. But obviously, thank you for coming on the show here. Do you want to maybe do a quick shameless plug
Uh,
for Weber Gallagher?
I guess I will if you're forcing my hand. Yes, we're a full-scale insurance defense firm. We are in Chicago, Florida, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, PA. We also handle stuff in other states if you check our website, but we do everything from workers' comp to employment to insurance coverage to auto, you name it, we do it. And I'll say one of the things that separates us as a firm from everybody else is like I said, and it's that same mindset of we're not just our job goes beyond the courtroom, right? We work with you. We're a strategic partner with our clients, and we always do, what we can to help, whether it be looking at ways to um, solve the problems, not just the symptoms.
Awesome. Very well said. Well, Ross, thank you for being on the next episode of the
Thank
Aclaimant
you.
Fireside Chat. We'll have to do this again sometime. And to everyone out there listening, stay tuned. And hopefully we'll have some more of these coming along here soon. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Take care, everyone.